Hey, everybody. How y'all doing? Welcome to the Retired 25 podcast. I'm your host, Salomon Roybal. And today we have a very special guest, Maximillian Naza. He is the founder, CEO of Youngevity. It's a digital marketing software development company. And he's going to share with us a little bit of what he knows about how we can optimize our digital presence, how we can start getting into the new age. If you have not been on social media, if your company is not optimized for the new age to be digital, this is the man to help you out. Please welcome Maximillian Naza. How are you, man?
I'm good. I'm doing good. What about you?
Good. Just enjoying the sun right here in Bogota. It's very nice. Very nice day today.
That's what's
Uh,
up. I'm glad to
yeah.
hear.
Although we're inside, I still get to enjoy it out my window. So it's good.
Likewise here. I mean, it's nice looking out, but yeah,
Okay.
I haven't gone out much.
All right. Well, tell us, Max. Can I call you Max, or you would like prefer
Yeah,
Maximilian?
Max is fine.
Max. All right. So tell us, Max. What about your business? What made you start this digital marketing platform?
Um, the the business actually started out of spite, if you can believe that. So coming in
I think a lot of businesses
as
started out of spite, no?
right,
Lamborghini, PayPal.
right.
A lot of
It's like
businesses start off that way.
It's like I'm so mad. What am I gonna do? Let's
Yeah.
start a business. So coming in as a freshman, I was a computer science major,
Mhm.
and I told myself, and there was nothing based. Like it was just a gut feeling thing. I told myself I would never do anything that didn't have to do with my major. Um, I didn't want to work for free, and I
Mhm.
didn't want to do anything that was relevant.
Mhm.
So it's like even if I was gonna get paid $7.25, it had to be something that was relevant to what I was doing. Um, and as I kept applying to these positions, to these roles, um, I would get interviews to a couple of them, and the few ones where I got to the final stage, or at least the offer stage, it
Mhm.
was always the same feedback. Hey, we like you. You're a really nice guy, but you don't have the experience that we're looking for. And again, I'm a freshman. This is an internship. They claim they're looking for freshmen, right?
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, who are these freshmen that you're looking for that have all these experiences that I don't like? I don't get it. It's
Yeah.
just,
What freshman
so
has 10 years of experience to
right.
work $5 an hour? I don't get it.
Right. So then it was just a shift in mindset, right? Because from looking for a job, it was like, okay, how can I hire myself, right?
Mhm.
Um, or at least how can I give myself work if nobody will give it to me?
Yeah.
Um, and that directed me towards freelancing
Mhm.
to where, again, it wasn't like a long term thing. It was like, okay, you need a website, a landing page, or whatever the case is. Um, I'll do that for you. Or sometime it was just putting a form together where it's like a Google form or something that I just had to like use basic HTML and CSS for.
Mhm.
And as I got to do that, I started to put that on my resume. So now when people said, oh, you have no experience, I'm like, well, actually, I kind of do.
Mhm.
Here it is, right?
Mhm.
So then the freelancing is what slowly evolved into the business,
Mhm.
and I got around to like doing the business because I wanted to charge people more. I mean, that's that's like the because
Okay.
people are
Gotta know
always
your
like
worth.
looking for right. People are always looking for a bargain, which I don't think I was that expensive.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I don't think anybody really thinks they are because it's about like charging what you think you're worth.
Yeah.
But one thing I noticed, at least I thought it would happen, and it did, is that um, as I would try to like, as people would try to negotiate, and I'm like, okay, I need 200 for this, or I need 500 for that.
Mhm.
They would look at me and it's like, you're a college student, like, what do you need that much money for?
Yeah.
And it's like, what does that have to do with anything, right? But then I wasn't sure how to say that politely, so again, I would try to have this back and forth, and 9 times out of 10, it was a waste of time.
Yeah.
Whereas by having a business, instead of I would say we, like we're gonna get back to you, or
Yeah.
it just the idea that there's a team
Mhm.
and that I'm responsible to basically taking care of my team members and stuff like that. People just basically didn't do that anymore.
Yeah.
When really it was still just me,
Yeah.
right? But with a business and like the presentation that it gave, that took that headache away. And I was glad, I was happy about that. And from there, hopefully, I mean, thankfully, things just kept kept growing, and I got to where I am today.
Okay, yeah. And that's a great that's a little key, right? For a lot of people starting off. A lot of time people are, lack of a better word, too honest with their clients.
Right,
And, they tell them like it's just me. So people kind of try to take advantage of that. They say, well, how much overhead can you really have? So they try to take you down. But when you say we, and it's such a simple little change, such a simple little
right,
word, right? But when you say we, all of a sudden it's all right. This is a person that's got teams, got employees, got responsibility. So the price becomes reasonable all of a sudden.
right.
Yeah.
Um, which was great, because when I got to, I mean, right now I'm at a point where I have contractors and stuff that I
Mhm.
work with when work becomes a bit overwhelming. And it's just, there wasn't like a change in tone for that, right?
Yeah.
So I went from like, in a way, pretending to have a team to now that I actually have a team, and I don't have to like worry about that, because
Mhm.
the when you're dealing with a team, or like, to a certain extent outsourcing or whatever the case is,
Yeah.
you want to make sure that you at least break even for every project,
Yeah.
right? So if I charge you $5, right, or $2,000, or whatever the case is for an app, I have to make sure that if I do need help, it doesn't cost me any more than whatever I charge you,
Yeah.
because I get new work for my portfolio, which is good because that builds adds to my credibility. And two, like I don't lose money,
Mhm.
because like, contrary to popular belief, like the number one, my opinion is that the number one, you know, the reason you have a business is to make money. Like it's nice to have passion, and it helps because when things get rough, your passion is what helps you to keep going and not
Mhm.
give up. But if you're losing money, you're gonna have to kiss your passion goodbye, because passion isn't gonna pay your employees.
Yeah.
Passion isn't gonna handle like whatever bills you got. Passion
Yeah.
isn't gonna get you new clients. Like you actually have to like put in the work.
Mhm.
And it sounds shallow to say, but like the bottom line, I mean, it's not the end all be all, but at the same time there needs to be a certain baseline that you establish, as far as like, okay, this is what my bottom line should be. And as long as it's that, I can, do whatever. I can do this, I can do that. But until you have that straightened down, you should really just be focusing on like your value proposition, and just growing your clientele.
Yeah, exactly. So Max, as an entrepreneur, as someone that's in digital marketing, what's one thing that you see a lot of other entrepreneurs, a lot of other business owners are failing in? Like, what do you see that they're failing in terms of having that online digital presence?
Um, a lot of people, from conversations that I've had with clients and other folks, they don't think that they need a digital marketing presence. To them, it's an Achilles heel of sort, right? It's just a pain. They
Really?
have to do it. They need a website because in this day and age, if people Google your company and they don't see a website, they'll think that you're you don't exist,
Yeah.
or like you're a scammer or whatever. So they put up a website, but then it's there's no effort that goes into it, right?
Mm.
Where today, in this day and age, your website is basically like your business card of sort, or like your headshot when it comes to like acting. Right? It's your resume pretty much.
Yeah.
When when people get on there and they see that it's sloppy, it's not well put together, you have a lot of people use templates, and there's nothing wrong with using templates. But when, um, I get to like a page of your template where you still have the dummy text, the gibberish that makes zero sense. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, if that's what you do to your own website, what are you going to do to mine?
Mhm.
you know? So this part where they kind of go about it halfway or just try to do like the bare minimum,
Yeah.
that's one when where they fail. Uh, Another thing is people tend to think that Google and Facebook ads are the only way to go,
Oh.
whereas there are so many more avenues out there. I mean,
Mhm.
if you're dealing with Google and Facebook, I mean, unless to see real result, you need about like you need to spend about $2 to $3 a month,
Yeah.
just to be able to see.
Hello?
Reddit is to go. Like there's a subreddit called um, Ad Marketplace, I think, or Market Space,
Uh-huh.
and it's basically people with like websites,
Mhm.
uh, and they come in, they post their analytics and stuff like that. They post their demographic as far as this is a page about Friends, right? The TV show. It's a fan page, and the demographic is this and that, blah 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 blah.
Mhm.
And if this happens to be a demographic, you're basically dealing directly with website owners to market your thing, where you can basically have an ad space. So instead of like using, especially with Google, right, where they sometimes work with like site owners to basically display that,
Yeah.
you're cutting the middleman out and you're going straight to the source, which a lot of time is cheaper. And whenever you don't see the results, like you can kind of stop whenever, right,
Mhm.
without having too much overhead.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they don't research much. Well, I don't want to say they don't research, but whenever they hear of a method that's not too popular, they tend to be wary of it because
Mhm.
they don't want to like lose money. But then it's like, what do you really have to lose? Because you could either spend like $3 grand a month, right, and realize, okay, this is not working. Maybe I need to step back, versus spending, you know, $50 for like a 3 week period dealing directly with a website owner. And then if that doesn't work, you just have to find somebody else to deal with, right?
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I mean, those are like the two things that I see people people do that, in my opinion, don't really make sense.
Yeah. Now, do you feel like because of Corona, because of the quarantine, what everyone kind of just got, I like to use the analogy that everyone's standing around the poolside, like the ledge, and the pool is the digital era, the gig economy, where
Right.
some people were already in the water, some people were testing it out, but coronavirus just kind of threw everyone in the water, and now people are sinking and swimming, right? There's no other options. So do you feel like now, because of what everyone just went through these last 3 months, that attitude's going to change and people saw like, okay, I had to close my business for 3 months, but thank God I was online. Like, thank God I
Yeah.
had a digital preference to at least keep me, maybe only $500 in the whole month or something like that. Like, you know,
I think so, but a lot of it is going to be based on uh, people, right? Customers and what they do.
mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, online shopping just went into overdrive. It was pretty. Bless you.
Thank you.
It was pretty big before,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean today it's everything, right? I mean,
Yeah.
businesses are barely starting to reopen, at least for the state that have. And because there's going to be some restriction in place, right, for like the social distancing and stuff like that. Um, they say we can expect a second and third wave for for the virus. So I expect that that's going to be, I mean, pretty much until sometime next year, we're still
Mm-hmm.
going to have some of this restriction in place. So until further notice, yes, online will be a big thing. But once everything is cleared up, once we have a vaccine and it's no longer a threat, or at least as much of a threat as it is now, um, it'll all be based on customers' actions, right?
Mm.
So if people keep buying online, um, then yeah, like people will have to to basically do more online. Than
Mm.
some may even close shops.
Yeah.
But if people go back to their old ways, um, then yeah, the the effort will be back to where it was. But at the same time, the work that's been put to like upgrade the online experience will still be there.
Mhm.
So it'll just be a matter of like maintaining that, and making sure that, okay, in case this happens again, we're ready to do this. I feel like a lot of companies will have, a lot of retailers, a lot of e-commerce folks will have a contingency
Mm.
action, right? Like a plan if the world is shut down again,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I think I
Uh,
started put that in place these days.
right. So just so it's one of those things. It's like insurance, right? You hope nothing wrong happens,
Mm.
but if it does, you're covered.
Yeah.
And like you said, right now, the whole sink and swim thing, nobody would have thought, this would happen. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of experts, a lot of articles that I read. I mean, this is where the world was heading,
Mhm.
but Corona just put all of that into overdrive, and uh, it's been, I don't want to say pleasant, because like the digital marketing person in me is like, yes, this is great,
Yeah.
but then the way it had to happen is unfortunate, because
Mhm.
a lot of people lost their jobs, businesses closed, um, various communities were affected,
Mhm.
as far as like middle class, low income, and I'm not. I don't like that it had to happen that way. I don't like that there had to be so much damage to like people livelihood
Yeah.
and things like that. But yeah, I mean, it's it's uh I think melancholous is the word. But yeah, I'm a bit conflicted about the whole thing.
Yeah. No, it's actually interesting because I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a network marketing entrepreneur. I've since I graduated college, I've had one job and it lasted like I think 3 weeks, and that was when I was still in JUCO. But I graduated Arizona State and went straight into network marketing because
Nice.
I did not want a business. I mean, I didn't want a job. I just wanted to go straight into like my own thing. Um, and what I'm seeing, is I have a good sized organization, and the majority of them, I had a few people that were doing online sales, doing online presence, but the vast majority, I'd say about 85% of my team, was still stuck in their traditional life. They didn't want to make videos. They didn't want to have a social media presence. They had a Facebook, and that was about it, right? But that was to like show pictures of their puppies and their family and stuff. It wasn't really for their business. And what I saw is like when this happened, a lot of people started making that shit like really quickly. Some people were like, right, like the first day they already making videos. They started, doing what they had to do. And then there were some people that are like still dragging their feet, but they were starting to slowly, they slowly made that change, right? They made the turn, but slower. And I was kind of seeing it like, I don't know, in the United States we have Uber Eats, we have Grubhub, like all those services, right?
Yeah.
And I use this analogy with them a lot. Like, there's people, like, that don't use those services because they don't like other people touching their food, right? Um, here in Colombia, we have services like they'll go grocery shopping. Well, in the United States, we have that too, right? I forgot what there's a company that does like grocery shopping for you too. But there's people that didn't use that service before just because they like to pick out
Instacart, right?
Instacart. Yeah,
Instacart.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Where people would go out because they wanted to like pick out their own produce, pick out their own food, and they didn't trust another person to do it. And now Corona happened and no one wanted to go outside. So they started using Instacart and they found out how convenient it is to not leave your house and have your groceries just show up at your door. Right. So it was kind of like that. Like people are gonna make that change. I feel like coming out of this, people are going to be more online, like especially the people that were holding out, the people that still wanted to stick to their traditional ways. Now they're seeing how convenient it really is to be on your couch ordering groceries.
Oh yeah,
like, so
because I was using Amazon Prime in college, right? And when I told my family that I wasn't shopping, people were like, when I was shopping online, they were like, "How? Doesn't make sense."
Yeah.
And how do you choose the good stuff? How do you how do you know that they're not just taking the stuff that's about to expire?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it doesn't matter because I'm gonna eat it like right away. Like I don't. At least my parents and stuff, my family, when they go out and they shop at like Sam's Club, the Costco's of the world. I mean, shop in bulk, and the thing stays for like a month or two, right?
Yeah.
Whereas with me, I'm shopping for like the next 2 weeks, the next 3 weeks, or whatever. So yeah, like usually it's over by the time before we get there, and that didn't register with them. They're like, "Why do you have to be so lazy?" And I'm trying to like explain that it's really not that bad. If anything, it saves me time because I have to, because I stayed in Atlanta at the time, and being downtown, um, I mean, there could be traffic for like any reason, whether an accident or, especially on the weekend, some people are like, some parade happening, or if there was a game, so I mean, something that's like 10, 20 minutes away could end up turning into like a 40, 50-minute journey.
Yeah.
But with that, whenever I needed something, I would like put in the order, and usually within like, 2 to 3 hours, I would like get it delivered to my place. And that 2 to 3 hours, instead of like assuming that was traffic, right? I can use that time to do something else. I could do nothing, right? But at the same time, I'm not in traffic. Feel, oh my goodness, I could be doing this. I could be doing that.
Yeah.
It's all about options, right? The whole thing with like Instacart and all that stuff. People feel like they have options, and not necessarily that it's not true, but when people feel that way, they'll make different decisions based on how they feel, or based, I mean, we're all biased in a way, right?
Yeah.
But when you put people against the wall, which coronavirus kind of has, and it's either do that or nothing, then they're gonna do the only option that they have presented to them, because either you use Instacart or you don't get food, right? Or you can go to Walmart and find that everything you want is gone because people took it, right? I remember the first time I went, when they first locked it down, I was trying to get some snack, and like my favorite cookies like was out, and I'm like, why would they do that? Did they not know I was coming? Right? But then it's like, as much as like, oh yeah, I wasn't gonna get this, I'm always gonna get this. In that moment, it didn't matter anymore, because it's like I was trying to come out to the store like not more than once bi-weekly or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, my favorite cookies were out, but I just took whatever was there and I called it a day, because it's like, either I want some snacks or I don't. I mean, at the end of the day, does it really matter what brand it is? Like, it's really all.
I mean, chocolate chip is chocolate chip, really.
Right. So yeah, it's been interesting to see like the reaction and how people have like been able to adapt. But I would love, or at least I'm looking forward to seeing whether those same habit remain, or if they go. I mean, it's never really going to go back to where it was, but how close does it go back to that, right? Because one thing customers don't understand, or at least by their action, I would say, is that they control the market. When Apple came out and they were like, we're taking away the headphone jack, people were, oh no, why would you do that? I just bought a pair of headphones. And then the phone came out, and within 48 hours, well, yeah, I think 48 hours later, like, they were sold out, all units.
Yeah.
Right? So are they going to listen to you complain, or are they going to listen to like you exercising your purchasing power.
Yeah.
Because I promise you, if the phone had came out and within like a week they had like 5 units sold, they would have scrapped that and they would have brought it, they would have brought the headphone jack back.
Oh yeah.
Because again, you you have that power, you have that influence of like, because if you don't buy it, then they have to change that. Either that or they go out of business.
Yeah. No, that's true. They would have the iPhone. What was the first one? The iPhone 10. They didn't have that jack, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they would have came out with like the iPhone 10J to stand for jack or something like that. In like 2 weeks, they would have just drilled a hole in the phone. Everyone would have been cool with it. Oh, man.
Like, this is the remix.
Yeah, the iPhone 10 remix.
Right. It's like always better than the original.
Right.
But yeah.
So, Max. So you've had your business. How long you had it? 3 years.
3 years.
3 years. Okay. In those 3 years, you've been full-time entrepreneur, right? Like full-time.
Well, not exactly. So I actually just went full-time in March.
Okay.
So
Best time
middle,
to do it. Right. Best time to do it.
Right.
Best time to do it in the middle of a global pandemic.
I mean, the time was chosen at random. I mean, this was a decision I made like, I want to say almost a year ago. And as it got closer, especially in that last month, it was just like, okay, what do I still go through with this? Do I, like, what's going on here? And then the way I thought about it is, it's never going to be perfect, right? Of course, the pandemic is like it's a one in a lifetime type of situation. But I told myself, if it's not a pandemic, it's going to be something. Like, so if I'm looking at that, or if I'm waiting for like a perfect time, I'm never really gonna go through with it. And yeah, I did. It's been great. I've been blessed enough to have work. I am partnering up with the investment firm in the area, and yeah, it's been great, and I'm learning a lot about, again, private investing and all that good stuff, which is something that I'm interested about. Although these people play in a whole new league, right? Like, I was having a conversation with one of their developers one time, and one of the project was about automating something for, like, some of the investors and stuff. And it was like, this is going to help them make decisions, because sometimes they like to invest small amounts. Yeah. I'm like, oh, really? Small amounts? Can I get in on that? And he was like, well, no, relatively speaking, right? Because the small investment here is like 5 to 10 mil. And I was like, oh, okay, well, thank you for crushing my dreams.
No, man, it's
and I'm like, okay, yeah. So, I mean, they're, it's fairly humbling, but at the same time, being able to be a part of that, or at least watch it, firsthand, and understand, and or at least have an idea of what's going on, being able to like ask questions, which they've been more than willing to answer up to this point, has been great. Because I mean, you can read all the books out there, you can have dozens of theories, or you can try to do whatever you can, right, at a scale. But people that do it at the highest level, right? If I can use a sports metaphor, there's nothing better than being able to, it's like sitting courtside, right? And being able to like see that, and getting a chance to talk to them after the game and be like, okay, so, why did you cut left instead of cutting right? Because it seemed like that's what the guy wanted to do, right? So on and so forth. So yeah, it's been a blessing. I'm thankful, I'm grateful, and I'm just trying to enjoy the ride for what it is, and make the most of that opportunity.
That's great, man. So what's something like you've learned in this journey, like throughout your process? What's something that has really like molded you, maybe changed your outlook on things? What's something like that that a lot of people, that you could share with us?
Yeah. So it's people talk about it's just business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've never been a fan um, of that saying because I think it's not really accurate.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot invest so much of yourself into something
Mm-hmm.
and tell me it's not personal,
Yeah.
Um, and it be selective about the things that you do
Mm-hmm.
because if you don't care enough about it, you're not going to be successful
Mm-hmm.
because one, you're not going to put in the right amount of effort that's
Mm-hmm.
needed uh, for you to be successful. And two, when things get rough, you're going to stop. You're going to quit because it's insanity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, again, with me going full time in March, like it makes no sense whatsoever. There's a global pandemic going on. People are losing their jobs, and I'm lucky enough to be in the field as a software engineer that wasn't too affected. But even then, there were still some software engineers losing their jobs, right?
Yeah.
And then here I am saying, you know what, I'm gonna do this anyway,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it makes it makes zero sense, regardless of like how you go about it. But again, for me, it's personal. Like failure is not an option.
Mm-hmm.
I am, I'm happy with the company that I'm able to work with right now. And I mean, the work is for an extended period of time, so like I don't have to worry about, you know, what am I going to do 2 weeks from now, or whatever. But um, if let's say like for whatever they were like, we've had to make some budget cuts, we can't work with you anymore. Like I'm confident in my ability to land a new client, a new project. Not necessarily because I'm the greatest, but because I know the amount of work that it would take to make things happen,
Mm-hmm.
and I am willing to put in that work. And you cannot do that unless you care
Mm-hmm.
so much.
No, it's true. That's true.
So find the one thing or the few things that you care about the most, and then figure out what you're best at,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a mix of caring and also your skill set.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a salesman, so like I could care a lot about selling, but I don't think I would like do great in there, right?
Yeah.
At least as well as I would as an engineer or somebody who like builds app,
Mm-hmm.
because like that's my bread and butter. That's what I went to school for. I really love it. I've had experience working from startups to like Fortune 5, 10 companies, I would say. um, and yeah, like it's been quite a journey. So for me to work my way up the corporate ladder to now being able to you know focus on my business full time, and trying to work up that ladder as well, which I'm not sure what it's called. I think the business ladder or like
The
the
corporate ladder, the
well,
entrepreneurial ladder.
wait, you're right.
I don't think we
I
have a.
don't
I don't
think
think we
it,
have a ladder. I don't think we have a
yeah,
ladder.
I think it's more of an
Never-ending
elevator.
staircase.
Every now and again you go up, you
Yeah.
go down, and
Yeah.
yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, find out what you care most about, and then do a process of elimination to see of the stuff you care about, what are you best at,
Mm-hmm.
and then focus on that one thing until you get to a point of like financial freedom, I would say, whatever
Yeah.
that means to you. And
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to be a millionaire to like do that, right?
Yeah.
Or at least to get to that point. And then from there, if you'd like, you can start, assuming you have the time and you're able to you have some extra time to spend and you're comfortable doing so, you can um, try learning about those other interests,
Mhm.
or you can be lucky enough to where they kind of fall hand in hand, right? So
Yeah.
like private investing, angel investing is something that I've always been curious about. It's something that I've always wanted to learn about.
Mhm.
So for me, being able to work with a VC firm, I mean, it's a dream come true almost,
Yeah.
because like that's what they do,
Yeah.
right? So I don't really have to, by doing my work, I'm getting better at it, and at the same time, I'm learning about this thing that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Doesn't always happen, but yeah, I look out for these opportunities. But yeah, care a lot,
Mhm.
uh, you know, a
Yeah.
whole lot.
Yeah. No, you have to, especially as an entrepreneur starting off, as someone that's starting off in this journey, you have to care a lot because especially at the beginning, it's such a hard road. There's a lot of negativity coming your way, people around you. I'm sure when you start telling people you're gonna go do your own thing, everyone's like, "Why would you do that? Like, why would you want to do that?" It happened to me
Right.
when I was starting off. And to get through that, you have to just care about what you're gonna do. You have to know, like, okay, it's not gonna be easy, but if I can make it work, it's gonna be all that better, right?
Yeah, and for me, it's not even. It's like making it work. That's great. That because nobody fails on purpose. Like
Mm-hmm.
I hate it, and hate is a strong word, but I hate it when people talk about embrace your failure,
Mm-hmm.
or embrace like failing and anything close to that, because nobody fails on purpose.
Yeah.
Like an analogy that I have for that is like with dating, right? So let's say I see a girl and then I see she has like a wedding ring on, or she has a ring on, and I can
Mm-hmm.
only assume it's a wedding ring. And I'm like, you know what? She's probably married. She's gonna say no to me. She's beautiful, but I'm gonna go ahead and try to ask her out anyway, because then when she tells me no, that's gonna be a beautiful learning experience. Like
Yeah.
no, like you don't do that. You see what I mean? Like you don't put yourself in positions where you're gonna get shut down regardless.
Uh-huh.
But like if there's you have to believe that you're going to succeed.
Mhm.
You have to believe that it's going to work out. And I mean, if it doesn't, so be it. Deal with it however you might. When I try something and it doesn't work out, um, usually for like 2 days, I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to deal with nobody. I don't, from
Mm.
something as simple as like, sending a proposal over, and, it doesn't get signed, or like sometime they don't even look at it, right?
Mhm.
And it's like, really, like, where did I go wrong? Where did and again, kind of analyzing that and seeing that, okay, this is what I could potentially do better. And then when I come back out of that, it's like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
I think I learned something, and I'm gonna try to like apply it moving forward.
Yeah.
But this whole like, oh, I'm happy it didn't happen because it wasn't meant to be or whatever. I don't do that. Like
Mhm.
I'm not happy. It should have
Yeah. Yeah.
happened.
But see, I think the second one is the what how most people should approach it, right? You failure. Obviously, you're not happy about failing, but
Right.
as long as you look at it, okay, I failed. Where did I mess up? How can I better? And you
Right.
keep going. Like as long as you have that type of mentality, I think you're always gonna be fine. I
Yeah,
think a lot
definitely.
of problems people fail and they're just like, oh man, well, try to throw it all in, try to shut it all down, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Well, man,
different.
yeah, it's definitely different. You have to have that mindset. Do you have any like book or something that you would recommend to someone that's starting off? Something.
Um, so I only read tech books just because it's like related to what I do and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have.
And
I'm sure there's gonna be some people out there starting some kind of tech digital marketing
right,
firm, right?
I would say like so the I think the title my favorite was like the Pragmatic Programmer. I think is the title.
Hmm.
And it's not about any. tech stack per se, but just how, again, to be pragmatic, how to think, how to um, approach various problems. When you're stuck,
Mhm.
how, what do you do? um, or at least what are some ways that you can go about looking for a solution, from again, using your network to using the resources available to you, right? So to an engineer, that's Google, Stack Overflow, Reddit,
Mhm.
just any and everything, right? um, as for like business, um, what I've done so far, from business to like emotional intelligence, how to deal with people, communication. I've just read a bunch of like blog articles,
Mhm.
not from like one person specifically, but just like really anybody. So like Medium is a good source for me, and you know Twitter. I follow some people that uh, share about like some of their writings and writing of like other folks. I
Mhm.
tend to focus on the writing that they share about other folks, because I mean yourself, it's like self-promotional in a way.
Mhm.
And yeah, I guess I don't, because every time I'm reading it, it's like, okay, but he's trying to like promote something, or he's just trying to whatever, which could be right or wrong, but I feel more comfortable reading something that you promoted from somebody else,
Yeah.
versus like that you're promoting from yourself.
Mhm.
And again, it's kind of like a Wikipedia of sort, in that those people have read all the books and they're kind of sharing the gems, right? Like the good portions.
Mhm.
And then I'm kind of just going in and kind of soaking all that in, uh, which helps just because I spend so much time, you know, on tech related stuff that, I don't want to spend all my free time just reading about business and all this stuff that I'm not really good at, or that
Yeah.
I'm not as strong as.
Mhm.
Because I do need some me time, like where I'm just either not doing anything, or I'm watching like some show on Hulu, Netflix, YouTube, or whatever
Mhm.
site out there. Um, and yeah, so it's a good way to like be efficient with my time. Um, but yeah, like those, I would say, like at least that's been my approach.
Mhm.
And I guess it's up to the listeners to decide if they want to try that or not. I mean, there's nothing wrong with reading. I mean, I do
Yeah.
read. I don't read books in the traditional sense.
No, it's fine. Well, Max, it's been great hearing from you, hearing your experience, your story. If people want to get in contact with you, maybe they want some digital marketing advice, maybe they want to hire you, contract you, where can we find you?
Passivite.com is the website.
Mhm.
Um, I'm also on social media at Passivite, uh, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. So you can reach out to me out there as well. My personal Instagram is this problem solver underscore between each word. So this underscore problem underscore solver. So yeah, you can reach out to me directly with like any questions, whether about business or tech or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, I'd be more than happy to answer and help out in the best way I can. So yeah,
All right. Thank you, Max. Well, that has
thank
been a
you
great.
for giving me the opportunity, allowing me to get on your platform and speak. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man. And keep working, keep grinding. I'm sure you're gonna be able to blow up, especially in these times right now where everyone needs to have that online presence.
Yes,
The people that
sir.
didn't want it are starting to look for it. Well, this has been a great episode. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Bye.